Hi, welcome for our next study on the Passover. We start with Exodus 12:1 to 28. It's the Passover and the festival of unleavened bread. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in Egypt, "This month is set to be for you the first month of your year. Tell the whole community of Israel that on the 10th day of this month, each man is to take a lamb for his family, one for each household. If any household is too small for a whole lamb, they must share one with their nearest neighbor, having taken into account the number of people. The animals you choose must be year-old males without defect, and you may take from them the sheep or the goats. Take care of them until the 14th day of the month, when all the members of the community of Israel must slaughter them at twilight. Then they are to take some of the blood and put it on the sides and tops of the door frames of the houses where they eat the lambs. That same night they are to eat the meat roasted over the fire along with bitter herbs and bread made without yeast. Do not eat the raw meat or boiled in water, but roast it over a fire with the head, legs and internal organs. Do not leave any of it till morning. If some is left till morning, you must burn it. This is how you are to eat it, with your cloak tucked into your belt, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in hand. Eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. On that same night, I will pass through Egypt and strike down every firstborn of both people and animals, and I will bring judgment on all the gods of Egypt. I am the Lord. The blood will be a sign for you on the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you. No destructive plague will touch you when I strike Egypt. This is a day you are to commemorate. For the generations to come, you shall celebrate it as a festival to the Lord, a lasting ordinance. For 7 days you are to eat bread made without yeast. On the first day, remove the yeast from your houses. For whoever eats anything with yeast in it from the first day through to the 7th must be cut off from Israel. On the first day, hold a sacred assembly, and another one on the 7th day. Do not work at all on these days except to prepare food for everyone to eat. That is all you may do. Celebrate the festival of unleavened bread, because it was on this very day that I brought your divisions out of Egypt. Celebrate this day as a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. In the first month you are to eat bread made without yeast, from the evening of the 14th day until the evening of the 21st day. For 7 days no yeast is to be found in your houses, and anyone, whether foreigner or native born, who eats anything with yeast in it must be cut off from the community of Israel. Eat nothing made with yeast. Wherever you live, you must eat unleavened bread.
Then Moses summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, Go at once and select the animals of your families and slaughter the Passover lamb. Take a bunch of hyssop, dip it into the blood in the basin, and put some of the blood on top on the sides of the door frame. None of you should go out of the door of your house until morning. When the Lord goes through the land to strike down the Egyptians, he will see the blood on top and sides of the doorframe, and he will pass over the doorway. And he will not permit the destroyer to enter the house and strike you down. Obey these instructions as a lasting ordinance for you and your descendants. When you enter the land that the Lord will give you, as he promised, observe this ceremony. And when your children ask you, what does this ceremony mean to you? Then tell them, it is a Passover sacrifice to the Lord, who passed over the house of the Israelites in Egypt and spared out homes, who he struck down the Egyptians. Then the people bowed down and worshipped. The Israelites did just as the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron.
So this passage is about the Passover, and we have the Israelites in Egypt. Now they're in Egypt because through Abraham, Jacob, Abraham's son, and then Joseph. So Joseph, who is Jacob's son, has brought them into Egypt because of the famine. And so we're here now in Egypt, and probably been over 400 years that the Israelites have been in Egypt now. So God said to Abraham, there's going to be numerous. There was a lot of Israelites now in Egypt. Yeah, so unfortunate at this time, the Pharaoh was treating them as slaves. They had no freedom at all. And in God's covenant, we remember that he said to Abraham, I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. So at the moment they're being cursed by the Pharaoh. So now we have Moses in Exodus, and Moses is now going to deliver out of Egypt into the promised land.
Israelites are so oppressed by the Egyptians, taking them in as hostage, perhaps as slaves, to build the pyramids and all the gods that they worship. God hardens Pharaoh's heart, and it sends Moses to change his heart, change his mind, and Moses is not very confident doing it, because how would they know it is, just tell them that I am. He says I'm the God, and he's still not confident. He said, okay, take your brother Aaron with you. From plagues, flies and frogs and locusts and livestock dying, and to this moment, the Passover. The Passover meaning that the firstborn is going to be struck by the angel of death, some people call it. And
God, to convince the Pharaoh to let the people go, he sent the 10 plagues. God gave Pharaoh many opportunities to let them go until he brought the judgment. I'd call it the judgment plague. God would send his, the death angel or the destroyer. He would come through and destroy every firstborn male, human and animal. And then we come back. God, from the beginning, from the garden, it's the same plan. God to keep his promise that he will, to Abraham, that he will have many, many children from generation to generation, but he needs his people to leave this suppression, to bring them out so he can keep his covenant with Abraham of the many generations as the stars and the sun. So he needed to bring them out through Moses as the messenger. And of course, Pharaoh didn't listen, so the destroyer, the death angel, had to come through. Then we have the procedure of killing the lamb.
what it stands out at the end of that is when Pharaoh lets them go, because he sees the devastation of the children and the animals and everything that's happened from day one to the last day, when the plagues and then the firstborn. He gives in, I should say. He just lets them go. He lets them go and says to Moses, take whatever you want. Whatever God said, they took. They took possessions, jewelry, food, clothing. They asked to do and they were given to go, because they just couldn't stand anymore the devastation that has happened in Egypt. At the end, Pharaoh said to Moses, and bless me as well. He was asking for blessing as well at the end. So that was a little bit late on the reading, but it just points out that it was very personal grieving that the Pharaoh was having. Anyway.
I think what's interesting too is what God did to with the firstborn, killing the firstborn. Moses was a baby, the Pharaoh at that time, said the Israelites are numerous. We need to kill every firstborn, newborn male baby. It's almost like God is doing the replica of what the Pharaoh did.
Yeah.
He's not doing any more. God is like just.
Yeah.
That brings us to where he does, where it's the lamb, the sacrificing of the unblemished lamb.
Putting the blood around the door, on the top and the sides of the doors.
Yeah.
So the whole ceremony of having the meat cooked in a special way, and to roast it instead of boil or other ways, but and special, and the herbs that need to be used, the bread that needs to be without yeast. So all of those instructions are given for them to follow. Otherwise, the angel of death will be under that. The Jewish background, they still have this ceremony. Amazingly, they still still waiting for the second Messiah to come. They don't know. They can't recognize. Still, even now, Jesus not being here with us.
And I've just seen all the symbolism to what eventuates with Jesus, the unblemished lamb, the blood on the doorposts. That is the symbol of Jesus shedding his blood for us.
Defeated.
Death has been defeated with Jesus on the cross, so we don't have to fear death now. Accepting Jesus, that he's the Lamb of God, that the angel of death will pass over us. Our human bodies will die, but we will have eternity with Jesus.
Not forgetting on the third day he rose again.
Yes. Moses tells that the Israelites, you need to remember this day to all the generation.
Year to year, generation to generation. Yeah.
But now, Jesus now is the sacrificed lamb for us. He shed the blood, so we remember through the communion. Yes, we remember what God did with the Israelites, but it is now through communion with God that we remember the shedding of blood for us, that we now have defeated death. That we now can live with eternity with God.
Very, very important.
Yeah. He is our Passover lamb, Jesus.
Yeah. I think that's to me it's the most important part of the Bible, the supper that he and his disciples had before his breaking of bread and before his crucifixion.
There's nothing what we can do. It's like what Jesus has done. Like we can work, we can do a lot of things for our church. We can help feed the homeless, or we can do a lot of good things. But necessarily nothing. We do nothing. It's basically the ultimate price is Jesus dying on the cross, shedding the blood that we defeat eternal death, eternal punishment, which is amazing, right? So this is the end of the Passover study.
We'll see you next time.
See you.
Blessings.
God bless.
I hope you pressed it.
Oh no.